We're going to start the meeting. Welcome. This is the special meeting of the Lawrence City Council. Today is Monday, December 28th. I'm going to read this message from the governor. The pursuant to Governor Baker's March 20th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Laws 30A, Section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This public meeting of the Lawrence City Council for the City of Lawrence, Mass. is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted, but the public can listen and or view this meeting while in progress by use of the Facebook and YouTube web access sites referenced in this agenda item. Members of this public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for the public comment by use of the web and phone access provided below, and that is on the Zoom web access. And of course, this can be followed on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome everybody. First, we're going to start off with a roll call. So would Councilor Brunel please call the roll? Clerk?
I'll be doing the roll call, President.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Reyes, would you please do the roll?
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Councilor Estela Reyes.
Present.
Councilor Ana
Present.
Selena Reyes.
Present.
Councilor David Abdul. Councilor David Abdul.
Present. Thank you.
Councilor Alpayano.
Present.
Present.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Present. You have an echo.
It's because of me.
Councilor Vice President Marco Plant.
Present.
Council President Candace Vasquez. Council President Vasquez.
He's not present.
Okay.
So how many members are present, Mr. Clerk?
8.
Thank you. Please take a moment of silence. Now, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, councilors. Tonight is a special meeting of the Lawrence City Council. We're dealing with one item only, and that is document number 26820. To have our meeting run smoothly, just a few ground rules, if you will, so that we can be effective and make good use of our time. Again, one item, there is public comment. Like a public hearing, there's going to be no time restrictions. You're going to have one opportunity for the public to be able to address. So take your time, make your points known. If the chair finds that you're repeating the same thing over and over again, I'll remind you if there's any new points you need to be made. If there are no new points, maybe let another speaker have a chance then to make their points known. Counselors, I'm also going, and by the way, when you do, if you're a speaker, a member of the public, please identify yourself clearly, and please also give your street address for the record. This is all the notes. This is like a public hearing. We will take the notes. It has every effect of a public hearing, and so we look forward to hearing the public's comments. From the city councilors, I'm just going to remind you that because of the way that this is operating, your mics are unmuted. So I'm going to ask that just be cognizant of that. If you by mistake press and you mute it, it's going to take some time to get you back to be unmuted again. So the default right now is not muted. So I'm going to ask you to remain unmuted so that when the time comes for our discussions, you're able to then have a free exchange and flow of discussion.
Mr. LaPlante?
Ms. Dela Cruz, yes.
Yes. I would like to have a moment of silence. We have a very famous artist, Puerto Rican, that he died this weekend. And I would like to have a moment of silence, please. His name was Tito Rojas.
If there's no objection to that, we did have a moment of silence, but based on your recommendation, we'll give a moment of silence for Mr. Rojas.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Dela
you.
Cruz. Appreciate that.
Yes.
So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the clerk to this is document 26820, a home rule petition to waive section 4.11A of the Lawrence City Charter, a vacancy in the office of the mayor and the special election put on the city council by Councilor Estela Reyes. Clerk, will you please read the revised notice from the ordinance committee?
Just give me a second because Eileen Burnell is the one who's going to read that part.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
She's having a few issues with the login. And
Yeah.
bear with us, please.
I apologize. I had a technical issue there. Council, you just want me to read the item into the record? Is that the,
Yeah, please read the revised version that came out of the committee.
okay. What came out of the ordinance subcommittee was a revised version of document number 268-20 reading section 1, notwithstanding the provisions of paragraph A of subsection 11 of section 4 of chapter 425 of the Acts of 1983, or any general or special law to the contrary, if a vacancy in the office of the mayor occurs in the year 2021, the president of the city council shall become the acting mayor. Upon the qualification of the president of the city council as acting mayor, his office of the council shall remain vacant until the next city election. The president of the city council as acting mayor shall have all of the powers of the mayor, shall serve for the balance of the then expired term of the mayor. The successor of the council president shall not receive any added financial benefit for the remainder of this term.
Thank you very much. And with that, Mr. Payano, yes.
I see the city attorney had his hands raised first. I'll
I'm
wait.
sorry.
It should be noted that there is also a section 2 to that this act shall take effect upon its passage.
Thank you, Tim. That was not provided to us, but thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to remind the public who is waiting to go in and have this. Are you done, Mr. Payano? I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to add.
No.
Okay. Very good. That was it?
No, I'm waiting for you to give me the okay.
I was going to go right to the public hearing portion.
Okay. Yeah. I will wait.
All right. So that's the next stop. So I'm just going to remind the folks who are now on hold at this point, if they, rather than put a phone number on there, if they would put their name on there at this point as well. And then I'm just going to go down in the order in which I see that they're on here.
Mr. President.
Mr. Rodriguez, yes.
Yes. Just to clarify this, and I would like a clarification. This is not an actual public hearing. This is a public participation. And you seeing it as a public hearing because it wasn't published as a public hearing. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on how we call this, how we doing it. We're doing it as a public participation or a public hearing.
So unlike a public
Because if it's
participant,
a public hearing, we have to publish it.
my apologies. Are you finished? I'll wait.
Go ahead. I just
So
want to
this was-
clarify that.
This was not published, but we are going to treat this as a public hearing. So rather than the public participation, where speakers have a 2.5 minute time to speak on whatever they want, this is like a public hearing whereby people are going to be able to speak on this matter for as long as it takes for them to get their point across and give their input into us. So it's going to look, sound, and be directed just like a public hearing. And with that, I'm going to start with the very first individual.
Mr. Vice President, just,
Oh, yeah.
just one moment before you get into that.
May I just follow up with that very quick?
Everybody wants to speak. I'll go with Mr. Rodriguez, who had the floor first, and then I can go to you, Mr. Payano. Go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez.
So just to make sure for the record that this public participation it wasn't published. So probably people that wanted to speak on behalf of this is not aware that we are allowing them to speak during this meeting because it wasn't published according to what we do with many other things. So just want to make sure that this is on the record that what we're doing, it haven't been published as a public hearing, and many people probably are going to miss this opportunity or the opportunity to speak on this matter because as we do probably with a stop sign or probably another type of sign, we actually publish those and people we listen to them based on the publication on the paper, so far, so on. So just want to make sure that we have that on record.
Very good. Mr. Payano?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And I appreciate the clarifying conversation that you guys just had, because I think that I definitely was a little confused. When I was listening to the Ordinance Committee last week, I believe that they had asked for a motion to have a public hearing, which is very different from public hearing and doing something like a public hearing are two different things. So for that, I'd like to make a motion that the City Council orders a public hearing to allow, to give enough time for the public to come and for it to be open and have a conversation about how they feel for or against or whatever it is. I think this is an important topic. So because I'd like to make a motion for that.
Second.
So there's a motion on the floor to stop the public comment at this point to deal with a questioner of a public hearing. And it has been seconded, and I'm going to bring Mr. Hooten in, an attorney, in for this particular question. Is this a requirement? Are we required to have a posted public hearing on this, Mr. Hooten?
You are not. You can have one if you want, but you're not required.
Okay. And so, Mr. Hooten, are you at all familiar with the timing of this? Would it take 10 days or so? If we order a public hearing this evening, when would be the earliest that we could actually have a public hearing on this?
It's the posting requirements. I'd ask Mr. Reyes when I think it would be next week, early next week. Could do it next Tuesday. That would give you 8 days at this point.
You have to get it in the Tribune.
Yeah. So that's why I'm asking Mr. Reyes, would you be able to, what's your time period?
Being a holiday too is counted as businesses, and plus we got to get it published at the Tribune. The Tribune doesn't publish certain days, so it's something that I have to reach out to them to find out exactly when they could have it published.
Well, last thing go ahead, Mr. Piano. Would you want to add
thank you, Mr. Vice President. So I think that even while we might not be required to have a public hearing, as for us to change any ordinance in the city, no matter how small, we do order a public hearing. I think that if we're going to change the charter or the constitution of the city, especially dealing with something that deals with election and the potentiality of folks not being able, a right that they had under provisions of the charter, that if this passes, potentially they might not have. I think it is important for us to order a public hearing. It is important for the public to be given time, to be given notice that this discussion and this vote might take place. And while I appreciate, I think the attempt to allow for individuals to speak I think there's a difference between having something that's like a public hearing and having a public hearing are two different things. So for that, that's the reason that I proposed that motion, and I hope that it ends up passing today.
Thank you very much. And I will just remind the members that that we actually had a vote on this, a substantive vote on this at our last meeting, and that vote went down. And as is required by in our rules, once an item is actually dealt with and put aside, as this item has been, that item cannot be put together for another year. So while I do understand and the comments made, and I do understand the arguments as to why they're being made, our rules actually and the charter actually says that that year must pass. So
Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice President, if I may,
Mr. Payano.
Thank you. The difference was at the time when we were having these conversations, there was no written document that was presented to us. So I would say that while we might be dealing with the same line item, we're talking about, potentially there was no written document at the point. And then the second part that I think it is very important is that when the ordinance committee took their vote, it sounded like that the members of the ordinance committee were asking for a public hearing. If there was no ability to have a public hearing, I don't know how they would have voted on, but I do remember listening to that. So I would say that not only are these different, it's also in respect of what the members of the committee were asking for.
So thank you, Mr. Payano. The chair has made his ruling based on the city council's rules and charters. The ordinance committee chair will have an opportunity once the public comment is completed to therefore clarify, and if there's any change on that, then we can go ahead and have that discussion at that point. Without any further delay, what I would like to do now is invite members of the public to go ahead and speak this evening. And the first person that we're calling looks to be, I'm just going to go in order here, Debo Brown. Let me see if I can do this. Mr. Brown, are you prepared to speak? The microphone is yours, Mr. Brown. Your name and address for the record, please.
According to the comments he have on the chat, it says that the link is broken. It doesn't allow people to join. That's Debo Brown.
Let me, John Mejia, I know you're with us. Can you?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go for it. You have the floor. Your name and address, please.
Good evening, members of the council. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Your name and address,
Okay.
please.
Well, I come before you this evening to just ask respectfully that each and every city council member remember why they were elected to the position that they're elected to.
I'm going to ask you to stop right there, please. I'm asking everybody to provide their name and address for the record, please.
I would ask that you listen to their voice and vote according to what they say. So with that being said, thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me remind everyone, please, when you come on, just for our records, we are keeping records of who is speaking and where they're, like any other public hearing, where their address is. So please, we just ask you to do that. The next individual to speak looks to be Franklyn Jimenez. Mr. Jimenez, just unmute and give your name and address again, please, for the record. Mr. Jimenez? All right, I'm going to move back. If he's able to come by later, we will try to swing back to him. The next person on is Gloria Diaz. Gloria Diaz. Please unmute yourself.
Oh, then call him last. Whenever you call him. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Gloria Diaz. Gloria, if you can hear me, all you have to do is unmute yourself. John Mejia, are we, it seems to be working with Mr. Brown was on, so Glory, we will, if we can, we will try to swing back to you at the very end. The next person. Okay. Well, we're doing.
Can you unmute everybody?
The next
And then
person would be Mr. Hamoon Maali. Mr. Maali.
Good evening, honorable members. In this important year, we ask of our elected official to allow the democracy works. In this great nation, because of the democracy, the people can voice up about their rights. We need to have an election. We cannot have 8 years after 8 years of that election, allow the democracy fails. We, as a citizen of this great nation, expect from you honor and respect all right in a democratic society to have an election, a fair election that we can elect. So changing such an ordinance in order to forbid and deprive our citizen from a free elected election, democratic election, it'll be harmful. Need to have an election despite the pandemic. Democracy is a greater of the pandemic or problem that we have. Since Mayor Rivera left, we need somebody to lead this nation, this city, the city that we have a hope to have a better future in this, the most important pandemic time. We need a real leader that lead our city and our citizen for better life and better democracy. So we respectfully, as a citizen, demand of you allow democracy work and we have a free elected official and election. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maali. John Mejia, if there's any more people that are, can you please let them in, and I'm going to unmute them at the right time, but if there's people in the waiting area that are not getting in, and if you are in the waiting area, just remember to put, rather than your phone number, please put your name on there. Okay. Okay, so we will swing back to them. The next person is Ivis Batista.
I didn't ask to speak.
Okay. Thank you very much. You can just remute and we'll continue on. Jasmyn Duran.
Jasmyn Duran, I live on Union Street, and I'm here today as a mother, educator, advocate, and a proud citizen of Lawrence, having been born and raised here. Student Council, I'm here with you today instead of putting my little boy to bed because I feel very passionate about expressing my concern for canceling the special election. Now, I agree the times are tough and holding special elections in general can be logistically challenging right now, but it is needed. And as a community, we are advocating for it. So I am here with you today as someone deeply loyal to this city and ask that the chance be given to us to choose our next leader. I also ask you to protect this special election so that we can continue to show the youth of Lawrence, which I work with, what democracy is, what happens. I want to say this as clear as possible. Please do not cancel our special election. I think Kendris has been working very hard and has shown us time after time that he will work hard for us. I think he'd have my vote anyways. However, it should be the choice of the citizens of Lawrence to get him there. Historically, any Lawrence resident can tell you Lawrence is strong. And as a community, when times are tough, we stand together. Appointed city council leaders, I ask you to do the same today. Please stand by the people who elected you and allow this special election to happen. Do the right thing. Lastly, I'm disappointed in the lack of promotion for this hearing. I also feel that we should know a little bit our audience and make it more accessible. For example, on the Facebook stream, can we please start writing the link into the actual stream, the meeting ID and the password, so folks can copy and paste it, have it be more accessible. Some people who are in the waiting room, they are unable to change their name if they don't have a Zoom account, so they have to be let in and then taught how to rename themselves, because I was one of the people who was in the waiting room and I had to switch over to my personal account so that I can be let in. Had I stayed in the other waiting room, I would not have access to rename myself. Again, I am here today as someone who is passionate about the city, who works with the youth, and I just want to say, please allow this election to happen. We voted you because we trust you. So please stand by us and let this happen. Thank you for your time.
One more question. Thank you, Mr. Ring. Can you please give me your address for the record?
I can private message you my legit address. I live on Union Street. I just don't feel comfortable saying my actual address on social media, which is streaming right now on Facebook, if you would understand. But I will, like I said, send it to you privately right now.
No, I appreciate that. When we're in a, just for everybody's sake here, and I understand the sensitivities here, we're in a public area right now, a public domain. And one of the things that we do, let me go to Mr. Hooten. I guess I'm going to rely on Mr. Hooten tonight.
I understand. I live on 1 South Union Street in South Africa.
Thank you, Mr. And I appreciate that. I guess we don't have an issue, but Mr. Hooten, maybe in the future, if we have a question, I might come back to you on that. Thank you, Mr. Rand. Thank you for your comments tonight. The next person, it will be Jessica Aquino. Jessica, I'm going to unmute you right now. So go ahead. Give your address, please, and name.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jessica Aquino, and I live in the 45 Kent Street, that's in South Lawrence, 2nd floor. I completely understand everything about democracy. I think it's very good, all the comments that we are having tonight. But I also understand that right now, the number of cases of COVID-19 are too high. Actually, the level, it's higher than in April. So that's our concern. In this night, I'm talking representative as Ministerio por el y para él, and also my congregation when I am a leader, Generación de Adoradores. So we, as part of the community, we have that concern about the elections. We prefer the option that Kendrick Vasquez, the actor president of the Concejal, can stay for the year and just stop the elections for this year because the cases of COVID-19 are going too high. And also I am a youth very passionate for the community. I work for the community. So I completely understand that everybody has the right to express their ideas and to the rights of the vote. But for right now, the situation that we are living is real. It's real. The cases are real. The death that in our city we are having. And I think that for this moment, that part is more important. So I think that we can have that in our consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments this evening. The next person to speak will be Jessica Gonzalez. And Ms. Gonzalez, I'm going to unmute you right now. Please give your name again and your address for the record.
My name is Jessica Gonzalez. I live at 67 Phillips Street here in South Lawrence. As you are aware, I bother you a lot when it comes to my concerns. I myself work in the medical field. I know what it is to see with COVID patients, the restrictions that we take, the precautions that we take. But I think it's so unfair for anyone to take our right to vote. I was born in the Dominican Republic. I did the steps correctly. I became a citizen. I did everything I had to, and I've been voting at every election since I became a citizen. And for you to take my right away because of COVID is a cop-out, because I gotta go to work every day. My son goes to a center where he is being watched like other parents who have to work. So to say to stop an election, which is a right of the people because of COVID, because we already had 2 elections during COVID. And still the stores are open, things are still open. So all that can remain open, so can us to go vote. And I do believe that Kendrick ends up benefiting out of this, because where's that money coming from? How is he gonna be paid? If Lawrence has no money to pay him, allegedly, where's it coming from? I just want for us, the people, to have the right to vote. And like Duran said, on social media, you guys have a lot more viewers. You guys should take account how many people comment on your Facebook pages, how many people were watching the last session and demanded the right to vote versus the Zoom, because I myself tried the Zoom link and it wasn't working. So then I had to manually enter it in order for it to work. I only want my right to vote. And I think you guys should do a better job in publishing this information than just having someone reach out to you guys to see the information. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. The next person on the list here is Katie Darwin. I'm going to unmute. Again, please give your name and address for the record.
My name is Katie Darwin. I live at 14 Mount Auburn Street in South Lawrence. And I just wanted to say that I've been contacted by several members of the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Association who have all expressed their dismay over the proposed elimination of the special election. The timing of it, as well as the fact that we've just had 2 elections successfully during COVID. They were handled well, no one got sick. So now they don't want to have one, and they were trying to put in this little meeting between Christmas and New Year's. And I don't believe anything was disingenuous on anyone's part of the council, but it is what it is. Perception's reality. It's just, I think the people deserve a right to have a true public hearing, that it's advertised. I recently got a text message notification about a subcommittee meeting, which I was grateful for because over the holidays I've been busy, yet I got nothing about these meetings. I just happened to see it. So I stand with the folks that have said they think many members, many citizens are not aware of what's happening tonight. So I agree with the folks that have reached out to me saying, please do not change our charter. It's there for a reason. Have the special election at a minimum. Have a public hearing that is truly published and it's known and it's after the holidays. There's still plenty of time to have that done and go forward with the plan of eliminating the election. That's it. Happy New Year to all of you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Darwin. We appreciate your comments. The next person is Kelvin Moreno. I'm going to try to unmute you here, Kelvin. There we go. Go ahead, Mr. Moreno. You unmute yourself and give your name and address, please. Kelvin Moreno. Kelvin, one more time. We're going to unmute you, and if you can, we'll try to swing back. Are you with us? Okay. We'll try to swing back to you, Mr. Moreno, if you're still with us, and see if we can bring you on. Next person is Frank Campos. Mr. Campos, I'm unmuting you, so feel free to unmute yourself as well.
Thank you.
Please give your name and address for the record.
My name is Frank Campos. I live at 43 Cross Street, Lawrence, Mass. I want to thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to speak in this matter. And please forgive my political ignorance, as I was under the impression that when a mayor steps down for whatever reason, it was by right or by law that the city council chairman or president would step into that position until the following election. But from what I hear today, there's a difference of opinion. And I just wanted to say that my input is that whatever is better for our community, our city, and for the people, specifically for our city, and whatever costs come with this, that we take a look at that wholeheartedly and bring about something that's not gonna affect the city finances in a drastic way. Again, as I thought, this was by law and action that will come about when a mayor or an official steps down from a position. But I guess I was not clear on that. So I also agree that more people, or that this should have been very well publicized, so people who are for and people who are against would have the opportunity to share their views and their input on this. And thank you for your time, and have a happy New Year's.
Mr. Campos, before we go, did we get your address, please, for the record? I'm not sure I got that.
Yes, 43 Cross Street.
Oh, you gave it. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And have a good night. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
The next person I see on here is Sean Fitzgerald, which I'm unmuting. So Mr. Fitzgerald, if you wish to speak, just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
I can hear somebody. Who's speaking? Name and
Sean
address.
Fitzgerald, 5 Lorenzo Road.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much for listening to me. And I'm tuning in today just to let you know that I'm in favor of a special election. One thing I have in question is why we would suppress democracy, and for what reason would we not want to have a special election, other than I understand there's a global pandemic going on and it's important people's safety. That should be our chief priority. But I did listen into the last meeting last week, and the attorney that was on the call last week stated that we had up until March 31st to utilize certain privileges of mail-in voting. So that should keep people safe that are worried, that are at risk. So I think that we should definitely have a special election. For many reasons, not only just the idea that we're suppressing democracy if we don't have the election, but if this was at the very end of the mayor's term, if this was in September or October, and the mayor was stepping down with just a few days left, okay, I could see maybe the city council president taking over. But the idea that we're talking a quarter of a mayoral term here, that's a significant amount of time, and a lot of decisions can be made in that time. I think that we should allow a special election to take place, and that's just my opinion. And I appreciate you allowing me to speak today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fitzgerald. We appreciate your comments. There is somebody by the name of Chanel. I'm muting. Chanel, if you give us your unmute, give yourself your full name and your address, please. All right. We will come back to you at some point when we do one more round around it in case you're back. The next person on the list is Mr. Tom Cuddy. Mr. Cuddy, unmute yourself and please give your name and address for the record.
I'm just watching, Mr. President, so.
Very good. Thank you for your and thank you for your service, and we appreciate it. We will continue on. Next person I see here is William Green. I'm going to unmute you, Mr. Green. Please give your name and address for the record. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's William Green. Are you able to hear me?
Mr. Green, I am so sorry, but we are having a real hard time hearing you. Could you try again? And we didn't. And when you do that, please give your address as well. We just can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me now? Is that better?
It is not better. Why don't I do this? If you could unmute yourself, can you mute yourself now or dial back in? I'm going to go back to the top and I will look for your name again before we end this public participation section. So we will come back to you. Yahaira Rosa, I see is here, so I'm unmuting.
Hi, my name is Yahaira Rosa. I live on 14 North Boylston Street. I feel that we still should have the special election. I feel that obviously a lot of people don't know about this meeting that's going on. A lot of people are still on Facebook. I feel like we get a lot of stuff about COVID being mailed to us. I feel that if we have the special election, a lot of the stuff should be mailed to the citizens of Lawrence so they can know that we're going to be having a special election. I feel that we should still have our right to vote for whoever mayor we would like for the city of Lawrence.
Thank you very much we do appreciate your comments and thank you for being here this evening. We're going to move on. Probably if, let's see here. There is somebody here with this number, 978-258-4860. I'll be unmuting you. Please give your name and address. You're probably on the phone, so please give your name and address for the record. Go right ahead. 4860. If your last 4 digits are 4860, you are unmuted, or please unmute yourself and you're welcome to participate and give us your comments.
Okay, good evening, councils. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please give your name and address.
Okay, good evening, councils. My name is still Richard Russell, and I am a registered voter at 34 Cross Street. I do have a little something to say on this, what I consider a foolish and power-grabbing home rule petition idea. Why have rules if the powers that be have no intention of following them except to benefit themselves? 52 and a half years ago, I raised my right hand and swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Quite frankly, in my humble opinion, some of these people's actions tonight may risk placing them in the category of being a domestic enemy. Going back in history, we managed to vote safely during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. The only issue was politicians had a tough time campaigning. They had to do it by newspaper. Concerns about health and money issues are not reason enough to prevent a special election. All 9 councilors were elected to serve the voters of the city. Each district councilor represents about 7,300 voters, and each at-large councilor represents 44,000. It is your duty to listen to the electorate as to what they want done. To have 9 of you decide who's going to lead the city until January 3rd of 2022 is a monument to political chicanery. While you may think your intentions are politically pure, there are many in the city who think otherwise, myself included. In closing, going along with this political charade is known as a home rule petition. I would advise some of you to begin updating your resumes. Quite possibly, some of you may not have a job come next fall's election because of illness. Some of the voters are getting sick of you. I hope in my little diatribe that I have managed to talk some sense into you. I appreciate the chance to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Russell. The next person, last 4 numbers are 1503, so 97889.
I appreciate the chance to speak to you. Thank you.
If your last 4 digits are 1503, please give your name and address for the record. You're unmuted. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Vicente Perez, and I'm a registered voter from 43 Park Street. I've been trying to understand how this works, but in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary to have an election now and then having another election in a year. How much money are we spending there? $50,000 to $80,000 just to have an election, and then in a year from now again, are we going to have another election? I mean, there should be a person in there that should take care of the city in the meantime, and then we have a regular election. Again, I'm not sure how that works. I've been trying to understand, and I'm just worried about the city and all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments tonight. I want to go back down here a little bit to some people. Mr. Jimenez, are you back? We're going to some people we weren't here earlier. Mr. Jimenez, if you're...
I'm just listening right now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for participating tonight. We appreciate that. There is someone with an iPhone. I'm going to unmute you. If please give your name and address for the record. All right, I'm not able to hear that individual. It says iPhone on the list. Okay. We will move on. Let's see here. iPhone Alexera, if I pronounce that name correctly.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it's not working. Oh, here we go. All right. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Your name and address, please.
Yes, it wasn't allowing me to unmute. So my name is Alexira Cloves, and I'm a registered voter at 45 Kent Street, first floor.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm actually in agreement with Mr. Campbell. I actually think that there's a misunderstanding thinking that we're not being allowed to exercise, or that this is an effort to suppress our exercise to vote. As he mentioned earlier, there are regulations. When we vote for our city councils, we do it under the understanding that there's an order to things, and that there is someone, just as there is the vice president and the presidency, there is someone that if the president is not able to exercise his rights, or he's not able to be in office, that there is someone who we vote that we understand that is going to be fulfilling that job in the meantime while things get settled. So I think this is the same situation here. So that is one of the points that I want to make. And this is not someone who's a stranger. This is someone who has a proven record. This is someone we know. This is someone who the city is well aware of his works in the city. This is not a stranger. This is someone who has paved the way and has a solid background. So another thing too that I want to mention is that, yes, the fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic has a lot to do with how we address the situation. The numbers are more than double what they were at the peak of the pandemic in April. And we have been leading, unfortunately, the numbers in the state of Massachusetts for a while. So clearly, regardless of how much effort the city is doing to create some consciousness into the citizens of this town, unfortunately, we haven't been successful at it. Why do we think that we're going to be successful at having people actually having a say on this as well? If something as the numbers and the number of deaths is not bringing some consciousness into the citizens of this town, I don't know what will. So why put it under more risk? This city is already and their numbers are crazy high. So an election, as much as we would like to think that won't do that, just as Baker was saying, more gatherings is what's going to create. There's no other way around it. So if we are trying to do something that will actually help our city keep the numbers down, why wouldn't we actually at least consider that option? And not look at it as an attack to the exercise of our rights. But this is something that we did consciously when we voted for Kendrick Vasquez, understanding that he had the capacity to step up in the moment that the mayor was unable to. So I think we're looking at this the wrong way. And we feel that this is a personal attack. This is just the way legislation works. And this is an effort that is being done to protect our citizens and the amount of deaths and people that are sick in this town. And as well as someone else mentioned, save some money in the meantime as well. So that is my opinion on the matter.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate your comments. I see that Kelvin Moreno is back. So let's see if you're able to unmute yourself now, Mr. Moreno.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead, sir. Your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Kelvin Moreno. My address is 20 Ridge Road. And I just want to express my support. I think so I hear some people saying that it's an attempt to get rid of their rights, but I don't see it as that. I think as a city, we need to work together to reduce the number of COVID cases that we're having, as well as look for better ways to save money. This is not, in my opinion, this is not an attempt to eliminate or get rid of people's right to vote. I think this is just a way to be more efficient and be better prepared as a city. I don't think Kendry is one of those persons that is trying to do a power grab, as some people have been saying in the meeting. I think it's a way to be more efficient. I think it's a way to be more productive and reduce the cases. As we all know that our city, the number of cases are increasing, and just Thanksgiving, just Christmas went by, And I'm sure in a few weeks, we're gonna see an increase as well. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate your comments tonight. Let's try again with Mr. Green. I'm going to unmute you now, Mr. Green. Name and address, please, again for the record.
William Green, 95 Columbus Ave, registered voter, city. How's the audio on this?
You're sounding loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
Fantastic. Okay, so the first thing that I really want to discuss with you counselors is the COVID argument. We just had a presidential primary and general election, and the national numbers are far greater than anything that we've seen in this city in Lawrence, one small city in Massachusetts. And we as a nation were able to find a workaround to protect this right of our vote through COVID. And I think that we're having the discussion about COVID as a rationale, not necessarily as a valid or logical reason why we should suppress our rights and our ability for those without a voice to express their voice. And that is one of the things when we look at the discussion that we're having specifically about COVID, there is enough time, if we're talking about it this way now, where we can have the same conversation about what the federal government did and what this city did, what the elections department in this city did during the presidential election, when we were still at the height of COVID-19. Also, we have this wonderful Black Lives Matter mural painted on Lawrence Street. That is fantastic. That is theatrics, because if the Black vote doesn't matter, if the immigrant vote doesn't matter, then what is the point of this government? What is the point of the sacrifice that so many people and so many immigrants that sit on the council and so many immigrant descendants that sit on the council that left their country to come to the United States for what? So that they can have an equal footing, so that we, councilors, we residents of the city, voters of the city, have an equal footing with you, an equal voice with you. We're not all here. And quite frankly, we don't even care anymore if you want to buy a building and then sell it back to make money. We don't even care. You want to get your boyfriend a job in the police department. We do not care. What we do care about is preserving our rights and our ability to vote and choose who is going to lead this city, be it Kendris, be it whomever. But it's the fact, it is the principle of preserving our right to choose. And that's really it. I truly believe that COVID is a valid concern, but I think that it's been demonstrated that it can be overcome. And I think that we have smart enough people that in the city, in the elections department, that can think of creative ways to protect the community at large. That's all. Thank you for the time. Hopefully our rights and our vote and our voice will be protected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Green. We do appreciate your comments. We are now moving next to Jimenez Pena. Go ahead, Ms. Pena. I am unmuting you, so please feel free to unmute and give your name and address, please, for the record.
My name is Inez Pena. I'm from 50 Dartmouth Street. And I don't think if somebody do his job for running the city, stop my voice. So I think the city of Lawrence is not ready for election at this time. And I don't think that anybody that loves our city, that loves the resident of Lawrence is want an election at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pena. We do appreciate your comments. Hang with me. I think we've got Erica Nunez. I'm going to unmute you right now, so feel free to unmute yourself and give your name and address, please, for the record.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Your name and
My
address.
English is a little bit, but I think that the saying the last person told, I think that Lawrence is not prepared for another election. It's very low months. In a few months, we have another election in November. I think that's better to wait for November, the another election, not now. It's a lot of cost, a lot of money to pay for 2 elections in 1 year. It's my...
Ms. Nunez, thank you very much. Can you, before you leave, can we just get your address, please, for the record?
Thank you.
What is your home address? Your address.
Oh, 30 Utah Street, Lawrence, Mass.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We do appreciate your calling in tonight. Thank you very much.
You.
I am going through the list one more time in case I'm missing anybody. Just bear with me. You can feel free to disengage right now, Miss Pena. You can certainly watch this if you like. Let's see here. There's someone by the name of Benz iPhone. If you've got a name and address, please, for the record.
1980 Street, Lawrence, Massachusetts, Frederick Diaz.
Frederick Diaz, very good, sir. Go right ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just listening what's going on. You're a lawyer, Mark, and you're a well-known person in the city. You know that special elections have to take place. Whatever purpose, whoever pushed this with their idea or pushing another candidate to the end of the year is wrong. I'm asking you, because you know a lot of people know you, and you're a good candidate in the city, to allow this to go on. The right for the people to vote. The idea of getting Cuddy in the way to throw this and the justification and, to pass this legislation is wrong. Everybody knows you guys are going to mislead a lot of active voters that are really thrilled to vote, that went out to vote. You're going to confuse people. So I'm asking you, as a city council, and all the city councils of this city of Lawrence, the city council is an entity that works by itself. It doesn't have to listen to any mayor in the city. You guys are the power of the city. Do not do this damage to the voters of this city, please. That's all that I'm asking. Elections are coming up pretty soon, and you don't want negativity going after you and your career down the drain. Do not do this. He's gone. He's going out of the state. You're fighting here in the city to keep a balance and a good environment in this city. That's all that I'm asking you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diaz. We appreciate your comments. The next person here is L. Vasquez. I'm not sure what the L is. I'm unmuting you now. Please unmute yourself and give your full name and address for the record. Again, looking for L. Vasquez. Please unmute yourself and give your name and address for the record. All right, we may swing back to you. I'm going to go to the top of the list and see if I'm missing anybody. It does not appear. I think that everybody who wanted to speak has had a chance to speak. Mr. Vasquez, I'm going to give you one more chance here. Let me see if I can get you. Hold on. All right, Mr. Vasquez, try one more time if you don't mind. All right, Mr. Mejia, you're working with me. Am I missing anybody? Mr. John Mejia? Everybody has? Okay. So thank you very much. Everybody who wishes to speak has spoken this evening. We do appreciate it. The public comment period of this meeting is now over. I am now going to look to the City Council Chairman of the Ordinance Committee, Chairwoman Estela Reyes to give the committee report.
Thank you, Councilor Vice President. Document 268-20, Home Rule Petition, waive 4.11.8 of the Lawrence City Charter vacancy on the office of mayor, a special election. It has been sent out with the favor recommendation, and I make that as a formal motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Dela Cruz. Is there any discussion, starting off with the author, and then is there any discussion by Councilor Reyes, the chair? If not, is that Mr. Payano who wishes to speak?
Yes.
Mr. Payano.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So one of the things that has taken me about this motion, sort of the rush that we've been moving to work on it, especially during the holiday season. As well, we've had we were sent two different types of agenda. We had a meeting for today, and then we have a meeting for tomorrow where it's listed as a public hearing. To the point that even I myself was confused, and I believe that the meeting today was in error, and that since the meeting for tomorrow was sent last, that was the actual meeting. So if I myself as a counselor was confused as to when the meeting was going to take place, I wonder what some residents that potentially would have seen this, whether they were confused as well. I also imagine how many residents would have actually come and spoken, whether for or against to this motion, if there was a actual public hearing with the required notice. Since we have these two different meetings and we listed tomorrow as, it's very clear that tomorrow was listed as a public hearing, to the point that I thought that maybe the public hearing had already been ordered for tomorrow because it was listed on the agenda. I think that we should give residents the opportunity to speak and to not create any layers of confusion that any resident might look like and think that there's shady business going on. For that effect, I'd like to make a motion that we table this meeting, until tomorrow to allow, the individuals that that got the agenda saying tomorrow that there's a meeting and there's a public hearing, to allow them the opportunity to speak. I think this is a very important vote that we're going to take about a fundamental right that the citizens of Lawrence have.
There's a motion on the floor to table the discussion this evening. Is there a second?
Second.
Echo.
There is no discussion on a table matter, so I will ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Chairman, President, Mark.
Is there a point of parliamentary inquiry, Ms. Councilor Levy?
It's just a declaration to the chairman to the ordinance. So when we send this, we send it also with the recommendation of having a public hearing.
So the motion is already on the floor. It has been seconded, and now there's a roll call vote. The clerk will please call the roll.
Council Vice President Marco Playa.
I'm the last one to vote, Mr. Clerk.
I'm sorry about that. Council Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes. On the motion to table, yes.
Yes. Council Maria de la Cruz.
No.
Council Pavel Payano.
Yes.
Council David Abdul.
No.
Council Selena Reyes.
No.
Council Ana Levy.
Yes.
And Council Stella Reyes.
No.
Council President Candace Vasquez, noted, and Vice Council President Marco Plants.
No.
Councilor President.
Motion fails for lack of a fifth. Councilor Reyes.
Without objection.
There is, I first recognize Councilor Reyes, who now has the floor. Certainly, I will get back to you, Mr. Payano, with yours, but first, Councilor Reyes has the floor. She's been recognized.
Thank you, Councilor Vice President. I think it's the time for clarification. when we open discussion at the ordinance meeting, we have the city attorney present. We've been asking about public hearing, public participation, but we had never sent a motion to order a public hearing. So I don't know from where this is coming from, but I was very clear that what we were doing was asking questions to the city attorney, nothing to make a motion. So she was loud and clear when she said it was no mandatory to make a public hearing. So I don't know if it was confused by sending up, but we never ordered a public participation. We was requesting and we asked her twice if we would allow a public participation due to this was going to be a special meeting. That's all I have to say.
Charter objection.
Very good. What we typically do, as we all know, is any of us who wishes to speak before they allow a member to speak a second time. Is there any other member who hasn't spoken yet on this matter, has a right to be able to speak? If not, I will go now to Mr. Payano, who has
Mr. President?
Who is not, okay, Miss Dela Cruz has not had the floor yet. Miss Dela Cruz.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. What I believe is that we have to make a decision before the new year. And if we have to make a decision before the new year, why not to make a decision tonight? I understand that some people want elections and some people don't. The thing is that we have to think about the money, the publication, it's winter time, and we don't have a lot of candidates that we can say, tomorrow we're going to have an election in this city. We have to give the opportunity to everybody, whoever wanted to run and to have that opportunity very clearly. I think that we should continue with this meeting because it was set for tonight. If you don't know how to read, the meeting was scheduled from before Christmas Day because it was sent to my, I read the agenda on time. It was not any excuse that people don't understand that it was already there. Then I believe we should continue on with this matter.
Thank you very much. Is there any other members who wish to speak before I recognize Mr. Payano? Hearing none, Mr. Payano, you have the floor.
Charter objection.
There is a charter objection which by our charter terminates any further discussion on this matter, and it can resume back at the next scheduled day. There is no other matters before the City Council this evening because of the charter objection. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and by Councilor Levy, seconded by Mr. Payano. No further discussion. I'll call the roll. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Stella Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Ana Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor David Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Pavel Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Maria de la Cruz.
No.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Council President Candace Vasquez, noted, and Council Vice President Mark LaPlante.
The chair votes in the affirmative. The motion passes. As a reminder, we have a next City Council meeting is tomorrow, December 29th. This item will be brought back up tomorrow, as is our charter, as well as the regular scheduled items that we have regarding the city clerk's position. Thank you all very much for your cooperation. Thank you very much to the public for speaking this evening, both pro and against. We do appreciate your comments, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow night. Thank you.